Hi everyone, this is the SerpApi podcast. This episode will be, in this episode we will talk with Milos about organizing work as an engineer director who also has hands-on experience. Milos is engineering director at SerpApi, and SerpApi is an API to scrape Google, Bing, Yahoo, Yandex, and other search engines results data without need to extract the data, without the need to handle proxies. API handles all that. Milos, can you please tell me about can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, anyway, my name is Milos, and I have been working at SerpApi for, exactly 4 years actually. It will be tomorrow, I think. I started working here as a front-end engineer, currently I'm engineering director.
Oh, thank you. What are your responsibilities at SerpApi?
Yeah, so basically as an engineering director, currently I manage a small team of designers and back-end engineers, as well as full-stack engineers, and day-to-day engineering tasks as well. So I'm still doing some of the work that I did as a senior engineer before I started doing more of a management work. Reviewing PRs, issues, those kind of tasks, and basically digging into mostly every aspect of the business that we have.
And how did you become a manager?
It was kind of an organic transition, I feel, since I joined early on a company. So at the time when I joined, it was only me, the CEO, and another engineer as well. And basically, I kind of grew in my role, and it was, as I said, very organic and natural, since I know the business, I know the company, the people that work there, and it was kind of an easier thing to start doing than to hire an outside manager and to train them so they can understand better how we operate, our values, things like that. It was pretty organic transition, I would say.
How do you feel about switching from individual contributor to management, like to a bigger?
At first it was it wasn't like that easy. I feel it took some time to get used to it, because especially when it comes to dividing and prioritizing tasks and work. I was still in the beginning kneeling and prioritizing individual tasks. It took some time to get to that point, to understand that the management part of my job is kind of taking over, and is equally, if not even more important these days than just the individual contribution. But in the beginning, I remember it was a little bit scary to kind of how to talk properly with people, how to understand their needs, how to not block them, and mostly how to guide them. But months passed by, and it kind of all things fell into place, and now it's much easier to do things even automatically. When it comes to prioritizing tasks and how to do things. It's kind of it's like I have been doing it for a long time, and that's not the case. Yeah.
Thank you. How like you said that when during the time you learned how to do the prioritization, how to guide from, like, how did you learn? Had you like read something, or had you where did you gain that knowledge, internally or externally?
So both, I would say. First of all, our CEO Julian is an amazing mentor, and he always was to me, and I learned a lot from him when it comes to management and how to handle and talk to people and how to guide employees. So it was super helpful, and he was always very supportive in that guidance. So yeah, it just tremendous help came from his side. But also internally as well, through trial and error, I would say. Where you fail, you kind of not even fail, but you notice errors and mistakes that you made, and you learn from them and try to not repeat them. And by the time you have one or two persons managing, and even more, then you kind of start to pick up things, and it's much easier. I think that when you start doing this job and you only have to manage one person, it's difficult to understand if you're doing things okay or not. It becomes much easier when you have more people in your team, because you have kind of a bigger reference point when you have like more people, and it becomes much easier, I would say.
Thank you for your answer. Do you prioritize individual tasks like now and in the beginning? By individual tasks, and what do you mean by individual tasks? Your own work, or also work that you assign to others?
So I still try to balance those things, to have them, half and half. I feel that's still working good for me and the whole team as well. But as you start to expand, as your team starts to expand, naturally you have less and less time for your own tasks, and you start to prioritize more the work that the people who you manage are doing, and the majority of tasks and your workday becomes concentrated on understanding their work, how to, as I said, how to not block them, how to help them in their issues, provide guidance if needed, and just debug issues and problems, because at that point it becomes just more beneficial to the business itself if they do a good job than solely prioritizing your own work. And at the end of the day, you have less and less time to do, just engineering work and things like that, which I guess we all like, and where we all started. But time kind of don't allow for everything.
Thank you for your answer. But how do you feel about that you don't contribute personally, but you contribute, but via others instead of by doing.
Yeah, it's a challenge to understand that, and I feel that I'm still not struggling, but I still didn't come to that point to feel that I contribute through other people enough. So I still sense that I still feel that my individual contributions are making me personally feel better because I still kind of am figuring out how to measure other people's success through my contribution. So it's it's I would say it's a work in progress for my side. Yeah, I have been doing this for a year now, so yeah, still have time to learn things and pick up.
Thank you for your answer. You have said that as more people you manage, easier it gets. What is the upper limit for you?
I don't know. Still haven't reached it. I don't know. To be honest with you, I feel that right now I'm managing three persons. So 3-person team. It's a very smallish team, you would say, and I feel that I can have more people join the team. I have more time to do that. But what's the upper limit? I don't know. Yeah. I'm scared to find out. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because now when you have less people, you can meet with them each week, and you kind of follow contributions week to week. But when you expand, of course, time. Just about time limits. You will have to space those meetings maybe bi-weekly, and yeah. It will still work out because at that point bi-weekly meetings that you will do with people who are already on the team for some time now and feel comfortable working with you, and in generally don't need as much guidance because they at that point understand the business quite well, and it's more of a support from my side, and then you would have more input with junior engineers and new employees and things like that. But yeah, I'm wondering what's the upper limit. Yeah, we'll see.
Makes sense. You have mentioned that there are weekly meetings. What's inside that weekly meeting, and what is the goal of the weekly meeting?
Yeah, it's pretty basic. I mean, the structure. So we go over what they did previous week, what they plan to do in the week ahead, and if there are any blockers. And that's the very basic structure of the meeting. That from there you expand if needed, depending on what they did, what they plan to do. If they have any questions, and then you discuss things. And the important thing to keep in mind in these type of meetings, which are manager meetings, is to not concentrate too much on the engineering tasks. You can pair with them outside of those meetings. These meetings are more to understand if there are any blockers, if they need some kind of help in work, if they have some issues, if they don't have any issues, what are the things they like, and just follow their progress, as employees in a company, basically, and any specific issue, whether that be, as I said, engineering tasks or design things or like that, we can meet outside of those meetings and then go more technical in that.
Makes sense. Thank you. And besides weekly meetings, how your team collaborates with you? I mean, textually or like how do you provide guidance, help?
Yeah, I mean it's mostly async communication from there, via Slack and of course through GitHub, whether that be a discussion about issues or their PRs and. Yeah, since we are in that kind of space, PR reviews can tremendously, be of help, and it basically, guide employees and help them, adopt the SerpApi structure, whether that be, code structure or design or whatever the company values are. We kind of achieve that through those reviews and discussions on issues and topics. So I'd say mostly GitHub and Slack for some more direct questions.
Makes sense. You have mentioned several times like the value for the business. How do you understand and know what is valuable for the business?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's about the users. We follow what users request, what they want from us. We learn from them a lot. We use, for example, Intercom to interact with users mostly. That's what guides us. The demand that users have, and that's I feel how we organize what we want to achieve next, how we want to shape our business and our company as a whole for a benefit of a user, but as well just following the markets and seeing how to adopt certain things, how to expand properly, whether that be adding more features or just expanding business as a whole, employing more people, and mostly I would say user feedback is quite valuable for us.
Thank you. I see that you have an electric guitar behind you.
Yeah.
Do you play?
Yeah, I play. I usually play every day at least like 5 minutes. I would just take it out, and I wouldn't even plug it in. Just it's even it's a bass guitar, so when it's not plugged in, you don't even hear it properly. But I would still just jam even for 5 minutes. Yeah, and I've been playing for like 13, 14 years now, something like that.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's
I was in a band as well. Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
You can make a SerpApi band.
Oh, awesome, man! I didn't know that. Yeah, we had a percussionist as well. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
We can record how's the SerpApi podcast dance song.
Yep. Some intro reggae
Yes.
ska. Yeah. Yep. That's awesome. How long have you been playing percussion?
Not that much. Several months.
No.
Always wanted to have a Jumbo for like 10 years and finally allowed myself to buy it. It's
Awesome.
perfect. I even recorded a song about SerpApi. I haven't uploaded anywhere, but it was super fun.
Yeah, that tells you a lot about separating work and life. You can't. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, that's actually a next question I wanted to ask. What is your work schedule and how do you, not work schedule, what is your daily schedule, weekly schedule, monthly schedule, or if you have schedule, how do you organize your time?
Mm. I, when it comes to schedule, like work schedule, I usually try to do it week after week, so not like thinking monthly, since things change quite rapidly. So yeah, I mean, I keep my calendar busy and always, up to date with tasks and
Mm-hmm.
events and things like that, because I stopped remembering things a long time ago. So yeah, it's just easier to just do the calendar thing, and yeah, I start working usually around 10, a little bit earlier, but yeah, I would say around 10. So I'm not like super early, when it comes to starting the workday. But yeah, going through emails at first and going through, what I have from my calendar for the day, and yeah, going from there through Slack messages, and then jumping to GitHub, seeing responses for reviews, issues, going through all of that, doing the meetings if I have any during the day, and yeah, if some time is left from there, then I would do some, individual tasks, pick some issues or tickets, and yeah, go from there.
And do you work without interruption from 10 a.m. To
Mm.
6 p.m. or when you stop working during the day?
Mm. Yeah, of course, I do not work without interruptions. But I do not like have a big break, like half an hour, 40 minutes. I usually make smaller breaks, like 5-10 minutes break, just to basically stretch out, and yeah, since remote work, and you're working from home. So yeah, smaller, frequent breaks. That's how I organize.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And about your weekly schedule and calendar, uh, what do you put in the calendar besides meetings? Yeah, besides meetings.
Mm. Usually tasks, because sometimes, whether that be I need to review someone's response, or I need to double check someone's question or message directed to me, or that would be an interview, or reviewing candidates, or responding to them. Yeah, because it sometimes happens that we have many PR reviews in the pipeline, and emails kind of get buried. So for the important things, I just set reminders in the calendar, just to kind of have that double check, instead, in case I miss something.
Makes sense. And what do you do when you can follow your plan on the week? Like something more urgent.
I mean, if that happens, just reschedule to the first open time I have, that's it. If something like that happens.
And what do you do when you finish your work earlier? Like you have planned to do specific set of work for the week, and you have finished it Tuesday. What's next?
Yeah, so we have many open, I say many because, many open tickets and issues, and I really enjoy, doing this work at SerpApi, whether that be scraping or something else. So I'm super happy to pick even the smaller tickets that can be finished very quickly. It kind of gives me a boost, and I just love doing it. Solving, scraping, and parsing problems and issues. It's makes me kind of happy.
Thank you for your answers. Thank you. How do you feel like you are scheduling things weekly, but do you plan like for quarters or for years, or how do you do you move only in small steps? But what is your a beacon?
Yeah, of course, there's that as well. It's just more difficult to put it in a calendar, if you know what I mean. Just having managing more people, being more efficient in doing that, being more successful in doing that. So it's of course there's those goals are there as well, and defined, but they're kind of outside of calendar, if that makes sense. They're more kind of like a personal goals that I want to achieve. I mean, we post OKRs as well, so they're there, but it's the goals that you set for yourself. Sometimes, especially the bigger goals, they are kind of in you, if that makes sense, and you just like follow them incrementally, and it's difficult to put them like directly on paper. So I sometimes do it, the long-term goals, though I find that it's difficult to. They should be more of a guidance than like you should achieve this. So more of a guide than something that you have to do, because especially for long term, things change, and you might get more easily disappointed when you fail at those very precisely set goals. But I found that if you use them as a guide, you're kind of more loosely following them, and it's much easier to actually come there.
Makes sense. Thank you for your answer. So you don't decompose long-term goals, or do you?
I do, but I kind of don't. But as you said, I kind of use them more as a guide than as something that needs to happen, in a year, for example. It's, I guess, difficult to explain, but I kind of write them down, just like on a note or something like that, usually at the beginning of the year, and I don't even I don't like. I'm not afraid to even update those notes during the year. Make changes and yeah, because a year is a long period of time, and yeah, it's a very fast paced moving business, and yeah, you need to adapt basically.
Makes sense. Thank you. Thank you. I'm already learning a lot, like I'm taking notes. Thank you.
Yeah, I wish to ask you all of those questions as well.
Well, we can do it after,
Yeah.
yeah. What was changed since you joined SerpApi? Like, how have you changed?
I mean, I don't think I have personally changed. I mean, I'm the same person, but I have grown a lot in terms of how I view work and organization tasks, as well as through SerpApi, I have met a amazing culture. I have often I often see a case where people would complain about their work environment, whether that be just the job itself or the management, things like that. And when I explain them the work culture that we have here, it's almost kind of unbelievable to them that something like that exists. So I kind of grew to appreciate this kind of environment, because it as an employee, it helps you. It's not help only for you, but for the business itself, which is the main thing. Yeah, I just grew to kind of appreciate more what we have here, and yeah, I don't think I have personally changed. Yeah.
Thank you for your answer. Yeah, it resonates with me.
Yeah.
What are your plans, professionally plans, like for next 5-10 years? If you like, or not plans, guidances.
Guidances, yeah. It's yeah. I would. I mentioned, I think, in the beginning that when I came here, I came as a front end engineer, and even I would say more of a junior engineer when it comes to that. So I have surprised even myself in terms of how far I came in the span of 4 years. So in the next 5 years, I'm actually really looking forward to see where I go from here at SerpApi. I would really like to continue grow business, and I don't know. It's kind of I'm here. We'll see what happens. Kind of thing. Yeah, 5 years is 10 years is just. I don't think 10 years, but even 5 years is it's kind of far away.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for your answer. What is the feedback about you from the people you manage? How do they feel working with you, with your guidance?
Yeah, it's all bad. It's all bad. I think that the way we structure things here is the more of a individualistic work environment where people are encouraged to pick their own tasks, what they are comfortable doing, instead of, we telling them, hey, you're assigned to this issue, you're assigned to this issue. I mean, of course, we do that from time to time, but it's highly, highly encouraged for people to find their own way, because we believe that it's something that brings what they like to do, brings their passion, and it's just beneficial for everyone. But sometimes people are not used to that structure and are kind of looking for being assigned at certain tasks, being assigned to certain problems. I guess that's kind of the feedback that I would say they would like to be changed. So we have to work through that to explain that they have that freedom to pick by themselves. That's how everyone is basically working here, kind of functions. Outside of that, I mean, I'm not bragging, but it's mostly positive. Yeah.
Glad to hear. How do you manage disagreements? Is the people you manage?
It's I mean, first of all, it's never personal. It should never be personal. It's always, what's best for the issue at hand, what's best for business. So we need to, have constructive discussions, very objective ones, and only then we can proceed and get proper feedback and do the right thing. Of course, disagreements happen, and it's I find it's of course easy to say yes, but it's difficult to say no. But sometimes you have to do that. You have to say no to certain things, and hopefully it's understood that it comes from the right place, and that it comes from the place of being good for the business, and just constructive criticism, and being able to receive it, the feedback. It's very important.
Thank you. And how do you decide that when to say no? I understand, like you have already said that it should be more beneficial for the business, but I guess I'm answering my own question, but maybe you have something more.
Well, I mean, it's as simple as that. You understand more how the business operates, and you simply have more knowledge about it, since you have been longer here, and you have been involved in all aspects of it. So certain things just do not work, which are not necessarily obvious to someone who is coming from the outside. So you are there to just let them know that it just in this specific aspect of work, it just won't work. It might work somewhere else. It doesn't mean it's wrong, but for the issues that we are discussing in SerpApi, it sometimes just won't work. So yeah, it comes to, it's simple as that, but of course it's not easy saying no. Of course, it just, you have that feeling of like personally you don't feel great after that, I would say.
Yeah. Thank you. I want to back to the one of the previous questions. I remember I always observed that you are making tons of work, like multiple PRs, very fast, very efficient. How do you manage that? And quality of everything is like almost like I can just go to GitHub, click approve. That's it.
I don't know. It's difficult for me to answer that because I'm often like self-critical, and I don't feel that way, most of the times. So it's like it's very it's like the difficult when I hear that kind of feedback from you now. It's a very it's a very nice thing and a very positive thing to hear. But I kind of like it's very difficult for me to appreciate it. I don't I don't know. I want to say it's like even not something that is related to me. I just have been here for a long time, and seen all kind of issues and problems, and it's kind of easier now to work through them, and you become more and more efficient as time goes on. I believe, especially if you are in the same line of work, and some problems become repetitive, and immediately how to solve them, even though they might look complicated from the outside, but you already saw those problems before, you know how to approach them, and it's just like automatic tasks from time to time. And I guess I always had that pixel perfect mindset that I kind of brought when I was doing more of a design work, and when I do these tasks, I try to cover every little thing, because it's important to save time on PR reviews, because the thing that has to be said is that when a person reviews a PR, they're basically reworking the problem themselves. So kind of you have double, because they have to check every little thing. They have to check the issue, they have to check the solution. Sometimes they have to fix themselves, because if you want to have a very thorough PR review, you have to look at every aspect of it. So I always encourage, take your time with PRs. It doesn't matter if it takes longer, because it's actually saving time, not having to review PRs for like 5-6 times, and
Yes.
Not sure. I didn't answer your question, but
but still you have I have noticed that I have noted to myself that making sure to do the pixel perfect PR and to double check or triple check before asking for the review, and simplify the pull request for the reviewer. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, because if you consider a business where you have every day on average, 5-6 PRs being open, something like that. You have to understand that a huge amount of work is going through PR reviews. That's actually, in a way, what's driving the business, because, in the end of the day, that's what users are using, the API. And it's very important to fix those issues in a timely fashion and, as fast as possible. So, by taking that extra little time for your PR to make it, to check every little thing, it's actually super helpful for everyone. It saves time for the reviewer. We push it faster and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Thank you. I guess I have some else questions, but I forgot about them. But I have the next question. What would you like to be changed in your work?
This is, I think, a personal thing. I need to. I feel that I still don't have a good work-life balance, and it's sometimes affecting me. I need to separate my work and personal life a little bit better. It's quite difficult. Sometimes it's you are thinking about it. Actually, very often you're thinking about work even after your work hours. I have this habit on my phone. I have GitHub. I have Slack. I'm checking those things all the time, and it's sometimes difficult to unplug. So that's what I would like to improve in the future, to just have a better balance between work and life, because when you don't have a good balance, it will affect you, and automatically it will affect your workplace, because it reflects.
Yeah, that's nice with me. And also, we will have in this or next month 2 podcast episodes about life balance, or even 3. 2 for sure. It will be 3.
I'll be listening.
One will be this VP of engineering of one edtech company. The person manages a team of 50 people. Like that. Wow. And then another guest for the podcast is front-end tech lead, and
I don't hear you anymore. I think.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. And the second guest will be a front-end tech lead. We will talk about individual. We will talk about life balance from the perspective of individual. Yeah.
That's super relevant to me, and it's something that, since we talked a little bit about personal goals a little bit earlier, that's one of my personal goals for this year, to just improve my work-life balance. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you for answering. I have the same goal. Like, I have a single goal for this year. I'm a balanced human.
Yeah.
Not only become, but be.
Oh, sorry, your sound is cutting off.
I don't know why. I have said, maybe my head earphones
it's fine.
becoming discharged. I don't. Yeah, I also have a similar goal for this year about the life balance.
Yeah, it's super important. Without it, I mean, you just without it, it's difficult to have those very long-term goals like 5-10 years because you first need to solve the work-life balance, which is very crucial to the well-being, basically, for you and as I said, it's super relevant to the company if you're happy, if you don't have issues, and it goes both ways.
I agree. Have you fired someone?
No.
Mhm.
No.
Guess that's it for me. Do you want to know please how to phrase it? Please provide a suggestion for yourself in the past. Like like before you joined SerpApi, you have started working on something. Like you have stepped into like design and then had some wishes, and now you are director of engineering. What are your suggestions for yourself in the past?
Don't be afraid to take chances. Just pursue what you love, don't be afraid of it. And I remember I would be super anxious when looking for a job or interviews. So yeah, just don't do that to yourself. Just be natural, be confident as much as you can, because that goes a long way for everyone. And don't be afraid to take chances.
And how do you manage that part of not being afraid?
It's it's just like you're here for years go by, you become older, wiser, and you just that's kind of behind you, and you're not sure when you overcome it exactly, but it's basically not there anymore. So you're like wondering what happened, how did you do it, but you just get older, get different understanding, more experience, and the confidence comes by itself. I'm not sure how to teach or learn confidence. Yeah, that's the issue. Yeah, because my past self would hear me and then would say, "Okay, but how?" and I wouldn't have an answer.
Thanks. And about you have mentioned anxiety. How did you manage it, anxiety? The same experience?
I mean, it's still there from time to time. It's now I just know what it is. In the past, I didn't know what it is. I didn't know how to recognize it. It was just fear. It was just scary. But now I understand what it is, and it's actually making all the difference. It's still there. It's still happening, but it's much easier to manage because there is no fear of the unknown. That makes sense because I'm kind of familiar, unfortunately, with that side. But yeah.
Interesting. No fear of unknown. And do you remember how have you solved it? Or when it's still there and you understand that this is an anxiety and this is an anxiety, and what do you do to fix, to leave it?
So yeah, sometimes is as simple as saying it's just that, it's just anxiety. There's nothing there except that fear, but you know what it is. You know that you can deal with it, so it's not an issue. Sometimes it can be difficult. Even saying that, it can be tough, and in that situations, for me personally, it's helpful that my girlfriend is here, so she's there to support me. So having that personal support of a loved one, helps in certain situations as well. At least for me personally. But yeah, big step is just recognizing, what it is, and trying to kind of stay on top of it.
Thank you for your answer. Do you have a role model?
I mean, not really, I guess. Sure, there are, people from my personal life that I respect and look up to, but not like a role model, someone that I strictly like follow. Basically, I try as much as I can to build my own thing and pick up the best from people around me and my co-workers and etc.
Thank you for your answers. What would you like to do? You have something to add? Do you want to share something more about this overall topic?
Well, I mean, I think we covered basically a lot of things. It's mostly summarizing. Just make sure to because we touched very briefly on mental health, like anxieties and things like that. So yeah, make sure to take care of yourself and to have a healthy work-life balance, because everything else is kind of you can learn, and you can manage. It's not everyone can do it, but if you don't have that mental capacity, it will slow you down, and it's just overall a difficult thing to go through. So yeah, take care of yourself. That's what's important.
I want to have another podcast episode about this specific thing, also about life balance resonates with me, and I already planned to make two podcast episodes, but I guess this topic is super relevant for me.
It's not only for you or for me, it's relevant for many people, because I see it so often, when I would meet with friends, and they're all going through the same things, anxieties and trouble managing time, and just different issues, and it's kind of like a very, very global and spread problem, that people are dealing with. I think it's becoming or it has already become a very mainstream thing, which is a good thing. People open up more and talk about their issues, which is absolutely great. When you look our parents, they are kind of closed, and they didn't talk about feelings that often. But yeah, now that's kind of what helps me, be more open, be more honest, and yeah.
Be more open to what and who, and be more honest to.
Yeah, to yourself first of all, and to other people as well. It's super helpful when you can talk with with other people who may or may not going through the same thing, but just being able to say out loud that you have certain issues and that you're going through certain things is super helpful. So yeah, be open and honest first with yourself. Understand if you have issues. Understand if you need to improve somewhere, and as well be open with other people.
I like that ending of a podcast episode. Like lyrical.
Yeah, we went into another direction.
Yeah, but it's actually a basis of. Cool.
Just a second, Ilya. I think you can cut this, but my girlfriend just came into apartment, so we can wait a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries.
Minut, ako možeš samo da sedneš, pošto snimam.
Evo samo da si izuješ.
Yeah, hopefully it wasn't boring. Yeah.
It's about you, like.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how many views we will have, but at least one from me.
That's great.
Yeah. Can we continue?
Yeah.
So, I want to summarize what we have talked about in this episode and to wrap up. So, thank you, Milos, for sharing your way of work as about organizing your work, about balancing your life, and I mean not life, but yeah, about balancing your life, personal and work, about we discussed that how you joined SerpApi. We discussed what do you do with SerpApi. We discussed how have you learned about managing other people because you have started as an individual contributor. Then we discussed some kind of your work responsibilities, about balancing individual contributor work and management roles. We discussed your tools to schedule work and that you do weekly meetings, asynchronous communication. How do you understand the business value? Then we talked about musical instruments, about weekly schedule, about smaller breaks, tasks in the calendar, scheduling reminders, picking hands-on tasks when you finish a task or work more faster. We have talked about bigger perspective, like OKRs or long-term guidances, about updates to yearly plans. We have talked about your internal changes and like not changes, but your experience of like that you met amazing culture, that you appreciate what you have. We have talked about plans and guidances for you professionally. We have discussed individualistic work environment. We have talked about disagreements between you. How do you manage disagreements between you and people you manage? About your personal efficiency at work. About double checking pull requests before asking for a review. And then we have discussed life balance, like that this is your current priority. You have set a suggestion to past you that you have said don't be afraid to take challenges, be confident. Like the confidence comes with experience, and about anxiety. Like recognize that anxiety is anxiety and accept it. And also personal support of loved one helps. You have thought that you don't have a role model, just have environment. And the final thought would be be more open to the world, to yourself, be more honest and more open to other people, and make sure to take care of yourself and balance. That was it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Milos.
A bunch of things. Yeah, thank you, Ilya, for hosting me.
So, then I'm